Okay, so the solution to the first question, it was a question on iteration. To show that the solution of x lies between 0 and 1, we just simply substitute into the equation. When we put 0 in, our -4 shows that the solution is below 0. But when x equals 1, our solution is greater than 0. It's 2. And therefore, the solution for x must lie between 0 and 1. For our rearrangement, we're just going to move that 4 across. It will land as a +4. And then the trick here is to just factorize. We want actually to get it to say x equals. So we need x on its own. Once factorizing is done, we can just divide through by x² + 5 to finish it off. Now we're going to use the iteration formula. So you would always put the previous solution in to the formula. So to find x1, we're going to put x0 in. Just follow the rules of maths and you'll get 4/5. To find x2, we're going to put x1 in. Now it's probably easier to put a decimal in. You've got your calculator, so you can easily choose to do it either way. And the result is 100 over 141. Now that's an exact answer. You can do it as a decimal. You will still get the marks. Okay, so we have to consider bounds. The first thing we're going to need then are our lower and upper bounds for all 4 values that we've been given. The bounds that they want us to work out are is the density. So we're going to have to use our mass density volume formula and work on our lower bound for volume. Now, because everything is multiply, we can just take the lower bound of all those values to get the volume that's the lowest value. We're going to do exactly the same for finding the upper bound. Use all the upper bound values and you'll get the biggest possible result that we can get for the volume. Now, thinking about our density, it's a division. Now, division needs a little bit more care and a little bit more thought. To get the lowest bound, I would want to divide the smallest possible number by the biggest. So we've got the smallest number for mass being divided by the biggest number for volume. And that will give us the lower bound, the smallest possible value for density. And then upper bound kind of works the other way around. You want the biggest possible number on top being divided by the smallest possible number to get the biggest possible result. Once you've worked that through on your calculator, you want to write down a good, decent number of decimal places because this is how we're going to decide which is our suitable degree of accuracy. If we looked at this to 1 decimal place, it would be 0.4. However, we can improve on that accuracy because to 2 decimal places, they both agree to 0.43. If we went any further, they wouldn't agree. So 2 decimal places is the kind of agreeable value between the 2 bounds. Okay, this next question is the product rule for counting. Product means times. We're going to multiply to find all of our combinations. So we've got our 9 times 15 for the first situation, 15 times 8, and then for all 3, 9 times 15 times 8. And those 3 together create all the different ways to choose the meal. All right, a circle theorem question. Now, one of the things I would do with a circle theorem question, especially if I wasn't overly confident, is I would check for that alternate segment theorem right from the off to see if it's there. Now, it is there, most likely, if you've got a tangent and a chord. One of the best ways to find it, and I really like this method, is to just highlight the tangent in the chord and then keep that line going until it hits the circumference, making a Z shape. And at that point on the circumference is where that equal angle is. So we'll mark that on the diagram. Now, using the angle at the center is twice that at the circumference, we can work out 112. Now, just plain and simple, angles around a point are going to find me the 248. And what I'm doing is I'm building up all the angles inside that kind of arrow-headed shape. So now 360, take away all three angles that I have got, is going to leave me the angle they want me to find. And I would just like to say it's not the only way to do this question. Circle theorems and angles in general can usually be found in more than one way. So that's just the way my brain saw the solution for that question. And don't forget to look for those basic things like your straight line and your triangles, etc. Okay, the next question is a functions question. Now we need to show that the inverse of f, when you put 50 in, produces the result 3. So we need to do the inverse to start off with. So set your function to y and then swap the x in the y round. This is such a great way of doing inverse functions, because now as you move everything away from the y to get y on its own again, what you're actually doing is undoing. You're doing the inverse of everything. So it's just a really easy way to write an inverse. If you ever get muddled about what to move when, just remember Bidmus backwards is your friend here. Now I'm going to go straight in with substituting the 50. The cubed root of 50, take 4 over 2 is 27, and that goes on to give us 3 as a result. So the next one is got a little bit more to it, but it's not too bad actually. So we've got to drop G into H. So I'm writing H and then putting the function for G in the bracket. And then where the X is in the H function, I will put that. So that creates us X plus 2 squared, which crab's claws to give X squared plus 4X plus 4. So that result is set to equal our 3X squared plus X minus 1. And then it's just a good old quadratic question. We want the quadratic to equal 0, so we're going to bring everything across. In this case, because everything was positive, we're taking everything away. It's going to produce 2x squared minus 3x minus 5. Now I'm going with my factorizing. It's fairly straightforward to factorize this question, so that would be my preference. But do remember, you have got the formula sheet. It's got the quadratic formula on it. So if you're not confident and you wanted to do it that way, absolutely fine. There's no additional marks either way or the other, and certainly none will be lost. So the final answer is x equals 5 over 2 and x equals minus 1.